a guy that I used to do jiu-jitsu with in martial arts studio that I was a member of, and he was actually a SAS guy, and like fascinating human. Not a particularly fun guy to spar. But I remember having a conversation with him after training one day, and he was saying that, because I said to him, it must be bizarre, like going into places where you've got, bullets, buzzing past you and bombs going off, and, it must be pretty nerve-wracking. And he said, the amount of training that we do, we have a saying that if it's exciting, you haven't trained enough. And I use that analogy in a sales context, because if you drill the scenarios, if you're getting stuck or blocked in a particular scenario with a particular objection, with something that you're stalling on when you're talking to specific type clients or prospects, if you can drill that to a point where if that thing comes up again, it's just second nature in terms of your response, then that's where you want to be.
Welcome to the Master Dealmaker's Secrets podcast. And now, here's sales growth strategist, John Blake.
Welcome to Master Dealmaker's Secrets. I'm John Blake. This is episode 287. And today we're going to talk about 5 sales training truths that you need to know as a business owner. So these are a bunch of things. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share each of them with you, and each of them actually relate to a podcast episode. So I'm also going to give you the episode number so you can find out more about this particular truth or each particular truth as we go through. So let's get stuck into it. The first one is that 85% of sales training has no lasting impact after 120 days. So that's in episode 25. And I have seen this time and time again. In most cases, it is with companies that want to do sales training with their team, but they aren't really doing it for long-term reasons. They're sort of doing it more so just to tick a box. And so the second truth, which I'm just about to share with you, is that if you actually combine sales training with coaching, you can expect an 88% shift in your results compared to just 22% with standalone training. And that was what we covered also in episode 25. So there is a massive opportunity. I mean, sure, people need to have the training. They need to understand the processes and the language and the frameworks and all of those things as foundational, but the results is what comes out with careful monitoring, feedback, in more recent times, listening to call recordings, reviewing call transcripts. That's where I'm getting the best growth. So people can come along, they can attend a training, they'll certainly you'll certainly see a boost in enthusiasm, you'll see a boost in activity, and you will probably see a initial boost in results, but without accountability, without the ability to be able to monitor what they're doing, to listen to what they're doing, to read transcripts of what they're doing, and to observe behavior, you're just not going to get that growth. And I've seen this time and time again, because anyone can look at a stat and go, oh, okay, yeah, 4 times higher amount of increase in results through coaching, and go, okay, well, that stands to reason. But I've seen this play out over the 20 plus years I've been in coaching and consulting. I've seen it play out time and time again. So point number 1 and point number 2 are very closely related, linked. Point number 3, you haven't got a training problem. In most cases, you have a recruiting problem. So you can help most people improve. The way that you get yourself into a position where because you want to always support your salespeople, you always want to have some kind of sounding board, some kind of way to provide support for them, and certainly some way to make sure that there's some accountability. But you can hedge your bets to a large extent if you select the right people to start off with. So many people that I have worked with in the past didn't actually have a training problem. they actually had more of a recruiting problem. So you can get incremental increases in training results if you've got average people, but if you've got great people, then you don't have to do as much training and you're not actually reliant as much on training as well. So many of the people that I've worked with over the years, and just many people in business in general, they haven't actually got a training problem. They've actually got more of a recruiting problem. And we talk about that in more detail in episode 31. This next one, point number 4, or truth number 4, this actually comes from a guy that I used to do jiu-jitsu with in martial arts studio that I was a member of. And he was actually a SAS guy, and like fascinating human. Not a particularly fun guy to spar. But I remember having a conversation with him after training one day, and he was saying that, because I said to him, it must be bizarre, like going into places where you've got, bullets, buzzing past you and bombs going off, it must be pretty nerve-wracking. And he said, the amount of training that we do, we have a saying that if it's exciting, you haven't trained enough. And I use that analogy in a sales context, because if you drill the scenarios, if you're getting stuck or blocked in a particular scenario with a particular objection, with something that you're stalling on when you're talking to, specific type clients or prospects, if you can drill that to a point where if that thing comes up again, it's just second nature in terms of your response, then that's where you want to be. So that was where the analogy came from, and you can listen to more of that in episode 110. And then the last truth is, I think, and a particularly important point, and this has come up often in my past, certainly in the last 20 years, but even before that when I was in sales management, when I had my own sales agency, is that often I will get a business person who will say something like, look, they've read a book or they've been to a seminar and they've bought into the idea that everybody in your business is in sales. And to a large extent, that's true. What I have found is a caveat to that is that there are some people that don't want to have anything to do with sales. Now, if they're a salesperson, if they've been hired as a salesperson, that's a problem. And you probably should reallocate that person or suggest that they go back, and do a different profession. If you have got people in your organization and you want them to become good salespeople, and probably the typical example is an accounting firm. So an accounting firm will cotton on to the idea and go, wow, I've got 20 accountants in this business and I've got all these other things, all these other services that I could provide for them. I'm going to teach them how to sell so I can get them to upsell all of my existing clients, and we can increase our fees and our average transaction size, because now all of our clients will be buying multiple services from us rather than just the one. And in my experience, this is a terrible idea. And it's a terrible idea because accountants are accountants. They've studied to be an accountant. And even if they pretend that it's a good idea that they're going to be suggesting additional products and services to your existing clients, they won't do it. And the reason that they won't do it is because they didn't study for 4 years to become an accountant, only to become a salesperson. So it's a saying, and it's you shouldn't try and teach a pig how to sing. And so adapting it to a sales context is trying to teach somebody to be good at sales who doesn't want to be good at sales or who doesn't like sales at all is like teaching a pig to sing. Pigs are really bad singers, and it actually annoys the pig. And you can find out more about that in episode number 50. So as always, thanks so much for listening. If you require help with any of this, the best thing to do is to go to my website. It is if you just do a Google search for John Blake Sales, and what you will want to go to is the Sales Audit. Now you click on that, and that'll take you to a page that explains about the sales diagnostic that I do with all my clients when we first start. And what it involves is, so first thing you need to do is register. when you reach the registration page, it will take you to a calendar where you will book a 90-minute session with me. And then what I will do, as soon as I see your registration come through, I will send you a customized questionnaire. So it will be customized for your business. You will complete that, and then I will crunch the numbers and process the results. And we will catch up on Zoom for 90 minutes, and I will go through the results with you. It is so powerful. It will teach you and tell you exactly where the hidden money is in your business. So exactly what it is that you need to focus on, exactly what it is that you need to change or add to unlock the growth that you are looking for. If you are looking to grow this year, that is a fantastic place to start. For a couple of $100, it's the perfect place to start, and it's like anything. If you get the first 15% of a project right, the rest flows nicely. If that is something that you want to take advantage of, like I said, just do a Google search for John Blake Sales, go to my website, click on Sales Audit, and you can follow the pages through there to get yourself registered. As always, thanks so much for listening, and I will talk to you on the next podcast. Cheers.
You've been listening to Master Dealmaker Secrets with John Blake. Subscribe to get more in-depth strategies and maximize your sales process with new episodes every other week. And double your inquiry to sale conversion with the lead flow you already have. Go to johnblakeaudio.com for his exclusive, free, no-fluff audio training and companion PDF guide.